As an illustration of how hedge funds use CAPM, let's consider a two-stock scenario. So our hedge fund has done some research. Maybe they've used machine learning. Maybe they've used some other method. Maybe they've just thought really hard. And for whatever reason, they predict that stock A is going to go up 1% over the market in the next 10 days. And they've looked backwards in history and observed that the beta for stock A with regard to the market is 1.0. So plus 1%, beta of 1.0. They've looked at another stock, B, which they predict to go down 1%, whichever way the market goes. It'll go 1% below it. And the beta for stock B is 2.0. So this introduces for the first time this idea of a long-short portfolio. In other words, we think that stock A is going to go up, so we should long it. And we think stock B is going to go down, so we should short it. And there's some strong advantages to this long-short approach, and that'll begin to emerge as we go through this lesson. So we're going to take a look at a couple scenarios with these two stocks to see how we should best allocate between the two. So looking back, this is what the S&P 500 has been doing. Remember, stock A has a beta of 1, so it follows what the S&P 500 does pretty closely. Stock B, on the other hand, has this beta greater than 1 or 2, and so it's reacting much more wildly than stock A. Here's our first scenario. Let's assume the market stays flat. In other words, it returns 0% over these following 10 days. And that we enter our positions as of this day. And our positions are going to be a $50 long position in stock A and a $50 short position in stock B. Now assume going forward also that our predictions are perfect, that A goes up 1% over the market and B goes down 1% below the market. What will happen? Well, if our predictions were perfect, stock B should go down 1% below the market, and stock A should go up 1% above the market. What does that mean in terms of how much money we would see returned? So if we look at stock A, and remember we're using the CAPM, we should expect to see a return for A as beta of A times return on the market plus alpha. So the market didn't move at all, so this gets nullified. So alpha for A is 1%, and we invested $50 in that, so our return is 50 cents. Similarly for B, this element is removed because our return was 0, and all we're left with is alpha. Now, essentially, our alpha here was negative, and we made a negative bet, so our return is 0.5, or altogether $1.0, or 1% for our total investment.